Hello class, today's video is for your third assignment. Your third assignment is a journal entry and you will be analyzing poetry. And so, as always, we start with the content. You will need to make sure that you have the 4 documents to make this job easier. You will need the Elements of Rhetorical Analysis handout that you've been working with since day 1, and also the main questions for analyzing rhetoric. It has the 5 main questions that help you discover the writing. In addition, you will need to go to the poetry analysis, and you have 2 documents there. The poetry analysis has the 2 poems that you will read and analyze, and then there's this figurative language template which kind of guides you and teaches you. It's one method on how to properly embed figurative language. Like if you're going to talk about the simile, it's a nice way to teach you how to discuss similes. And if you're unfamiliar with the figurative language terms, you can watch this quick video. It gives definitions and examples of similes, metaphors, personification, alliteration. Also, you can find those terms in the very first assignment we did, assignment 1 and 2, under the Art of Rhetoric, which are the Elements of Rhetorical Analysis. And so we have this document, the Elements of Rhetorical Analysis. It gives you some of the figurative language terms in it, like imagery. There are phrases that appeal to our senses. We can hear, see, taste, touch, or smell. Diction, which are very powerful words, and they usually carry emotional weight with them. And so this will be handy to look at as well before you begin. There's alliteration, which you have a repetition of a consonant sound. Like in this example, it's forth, or let us go forth to lead the land we love. You have that L sound repeated. And metaphor, there's the terms here and an example in personification. Similarly, so you may want to just review this quickly or look at the video that is in the poetry analysis folder. Again, you want to keep these questions in mind. What is the point or the main idea of the poem in this case? What's the author's primary purpose? What is she trying to do for us? What is her attitude? How does she convince us that she's trustworthy? And what emotional effect does she want to have upon her readers? And finally, let's get to the poem. Here are the 2 poems. The first one is called My Mother Enters the Workforce by Rita Dove. And you notice in 3 different stanzas. And so as you read it, the path to ABC Business School was paid for by Lucky Sign. Alterations, qualified seamstress inquire within. Tested on sleeves, hers never puckered, puffed, or sleek. They go, or raglan, they barely needed the damp cloth to steam them perfect. Those were the afternoons. Evenings she took in piecework, the treadle machine with its locomotive whir, traveling the lit path of the needle, through quicksand taffeta, or velvet deep as a forest. And now, sang the needle, the treadle, I know, and then it was day again. All morning at the office machines, their clack and chatter, another journey, rougher, that would go on forever, until she could break 100 words with no errors. Ah, and then, no more postponed groceries, and that blue pair of shoes. And so you can tell from this poem that the speaker has a very specific attitude about her mother. Okay, and what you would need to try and do is analyze or discuss that attitude. What is the purpose of this poem? What emotional effects is the speaker trying to evoke from the readers? And look at some of this has a lot of imagery, and so you can focus on that. You can look at the sounds right here where you have the locomotive whir of the treadle machine. You have this example of personification here, and now saying the treadle. you have this velvet deep as a forest, which is a beautiful simile. And so what you really need to do is go through and annotate the poem and look for the different pieces of figurative language and answer those big questions, those 5 main questions of rhetoric. Okay? And then here's the second poem. It's titled Curtains by Sandra Cisneros. And it has a little bit of a different tone to it. Rich people don't need them. Poor people tie theirs into fists or draw them tight as modest brides up to the neck. Inside they hide bright walls, turquoise or lipstick pink. Good colors in another country. Here they can't make you forget the dinette set that isn't paid for, floorboards the landlord needs to fix, raw wood, linoleum roses, the what you wanted but didn't get. And so after looking at both poems, you can tell that the attitudes are a little bit different about their situations. Okay, and again, you would need to go through and annotate the different figurative language elements, like this beautiful example right here. It's talking about curtains, but it says poor people tie theirs into fists. And that's a nice metaphor where she's comparing curtains to fists, and it gives a certain idea or attitude about how the speaker feels about her home and her life. And so these are some questions that you want to consider. Once you've printed up these, I would suggest printing them up and taking good notes on them. Once you've done that, you will go to journals. And the first assignment is right here. It says Cisneros and Dove Poetry. So you would open that up. And then here's the prompt. Dove and Cisneros use the genre of poetry to discuss similar topics. However, the poets present these topics with different tones and attitudes. Discuss how the poetry's diction, imagery, writing style and structure, figurative language to convey their attitudes about the topic. Your response should be 600 words minimum and should include properly embedded textual evidence from both poems, properly quoted and cited. In addition, you should have some structure in your response. Okay, now what will help you with this is this handout right here. It says Analyzing Poetry Notes. This is not a straight jacket by any means. You do not have to follow it word for word, but it will help. So if you're trying to discuss, for example, that metaphor, and so you would say the subject of curtains is compared to a fist. This is fitting because curtains and fist are both blank and blank, and fill in the blank, and this is significant because this kind of just helps you give your analysis some kind of structure. And here's an example that is done from a passage from the Scarlet Letter. Okay, so these will help you if you're struggling with how do I talk about similes. You can use this to help you with that. And I think that's it. Good luck.